business development for ASM in Latin America. So looking to really create some more partnerships with different federations across the region, different sports as well, to be able to connect more student athletes with coaches, universities, and scholarship opportunities to play and study in the U.S. So fortunately, we've been able to come to an agreement with the Brazilian Golf Confederation. We're looking forward to support as many of the golfers coming out of Brazil as possible, and present some opportunities for those players to play in the States. So for the webinar today, what we had in mind is just give a little introduction to ASM and who we are, what we do, and how we can support the golfers from Brazil. And then we'd like to take a moment to introduce some of the coaches that have been gracious enough to join us today. And again, talk about their experience, what they're looking for, how to best position yourself as an athlete to play and get scholarship spots on teams in the U.S. We can have a little Q&A at that time as well. So any of the questions that parents and players have, that would be a great time to ask directly to coaches that we have here today. And then following up with that, we can finish things off with how ASM can directly support you and what that looks like over the different 5 stages that we have of the recruitment process as we break them down. So I'll share my screen and start things up here. All right, so just quickly about ASM, it's a global athlete management and college recruitment firm that again helps connect student athletes internationally and around the globe with opportunities in the United States. ASM is a company that's been around since 2018. It's been backed by private equity, featured in many different major news publications as an agency that's been able to support over 2,500 university placements from 90 different countries. Last year alone, there was $24 million of scholarships placed that went through ASM, and so we've been able to help players negotiate a lot of scholarships throughout the course of the year, and looking forward to doing more of that to finish off the year and then in 2026. Our headquarters are in West Palm Beach. That's where the most of our team is, but we also have people scattered out throughout the region and throughout the world as well. I'm personally located in Medellin, Colombia, and bounce around from city to city. What we do is we help with scholarship placement, and so there's different divisions and levels of universities that we'll talk a little bit more about today. You've probably heard of some of them. We've got NCAA, NAIA. We've got junior college, and so we can break that down a little bit and what those look like. We can help you put together your recruitment strategy with different videos, academic evaluations. We'll help you build that strategy of how to go about this to make sure that everything is done on time in an organized, structured manner. And to take some of those concerns off your mind as far as what do I have to do, what's next, how do I best position myself to make sure that your profile and your strategy is ready to go. We can help you with training programs, mental preparation, brand education, things like this, and then also marketing and media. Being able to position yourself, as everyone is kind of aware of now with the social media age, putting together your personal profile is huge. So we aim to help you with that as well. Our mission is empowering student athletes around the world and providing them with expert guidance, exposure, and opportunities to reach that next level of athletic and academic careers. This is something I think a lot of student athletes dream about, and some don't realize what the potential is and what those opportunities are. And so making that real and helping more student athletes achieve that shows how real it is for friends, for peers, for people who have been through their programs previously. And so we want to help as many student athletes with those opportunities who have had those dreams to play at the next level, do so. And as you speak with anybody on our team, we're all athletes ourselves. And this has been, sports have been a big part of our life, and shaped us in different ways, and it's now part of our careers. And so it's something that that we want to be able to help impact others as well. And we do that through opening up opportunities, by education, by building a community of athletes, coaches, universities, and doing that in a way that is with integrity, and making sure that we support people the best way that we can with transparency and trust. Global impact, again, I mentioned that we've worked with student athletes all around the globe, currently looking to work with more Latin American athletes and create more opportunities there. We do work with golfers quite a bit, but we are multi-sport as well, and so can support athletes across different countries, different sports, and different opportunities. The company was co-founded by Ernie Els. As many of you know, he's four-time tour champion, and has won some tournaments. He wanted to invest in upcoming student athletes as well, and so he partnered. Well, a little bit more about Ernie, but yeah, four-time major champion, Hall of Fame inductee, more than 70 professional wins. He's had quite a successful golf career, and so when he had the opportunity to co-found ASM, he was all on board to help more golfers develop their games as well. His co-founder is Chris Vidal, who is a former college golfer himself and played on the England national team. He's been in the recruitment business for a long time, since 2008. It was 10 years later that he started ASM with Ernie Els, and since then he's helped over 5,000 student athletes earn college placements. So he's a real professional in the business and has a pretty extensive network in the U.S. and around the globe. Luis, I'll let you take over here and talk a little bit about your own profile and background.
No, thank you, Joe, for the introduction and getting us all in touch. Thank you to you guys as coaches for taking the time. It's really valuable to have you guys here to give your opinion to our parents and kids and share your experience. I was lucky to come from Venezuela, played for the Venezuelan national team growing up, and got started at junior college up in Iowa, Indian Hills Community College. I played there for 2 years. We won nationals my freshman year. That allowed me to transfer to a good Division II program in North Carolina. I'm sorry, my dog is barking. So I played at University of Mount Olive for 1 year and transferred again to North Carolina A&T State. Was kind of in between going professional or getting into the obviously working in the golf industry, and started my master's degree at Arkansas State University. There I did my master's while I was assistant coach. We had a really good team that allowed me to get to Virginia Commonwealth, where I had the pleasure to work for Andy, sitting here with us. He's right now at Eastern Michigan. We were together for 2 years at VCU from 2021 to 2023, and had a very, very successful team, especially our second year. And then Andy, his third year, got the team all the way to top 40 in the country, won the Atlantic 10 conference by like 25 shots, and totally dominated golf in the state of Virginia for sure. So yeah, it's for me it's huge to have had that experience before doing this. I wanna not only help the coaches but parents and kids as well, the same way. So obviously you wanna try to find a good balance. You wanna find the best school possible for the kid and the families according to their needs. And we also want to help coaches get the best players possible that can come in, play right away, and contribute to their teams. You can go next slide. Is there any way I could do that? Oh, these are three of our biggest golfers. We've had ASM past few years. There's a slide for each one of them. So if you want to go to Tiger Joe, he's from Germany. Played at he actually committed to Oklahoma State first, then transferred to the University of Arizona and finished his career there. Christian Mas from South Africa is the next one. Incredible career. I think he's top 5 right now on Wagger. Was Jack Nicklaus Award and finalist, and yeah, Sebastian De Soja, he's from England. One of my placements, actually, I started at ASM in 2023, and he was placed for 2025. He just won on his first semester at University of Oregon, which was very cool to see. And next we have Sammy Gonzalez, which I know Carlos and Andy are very familiar with. Top Colombian junior golfer who's committed to Texas Tech for 2026. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to give you guys a quick 5-step process of what we do, and then kind of pass it on to the coaches and parents for any questions. Basically, at ASM, we break it down on 5 steps. One's creating your profile on our app, your preparation, which is obviously getting all the academics and your tournament schedule together, so you're playing the right events and you're maximizing your exposure. Then step number 3 is where we come in and share your profile with coaches to help you get in touch with them and help you look at the right time and also in the right place, because there's 5 levels. They're all a little bit different and all very competitive, and we want to get you to a place where you can come in, play right away, and that may not be Division 1 or Division 2 for everyone, but every level is competitive. And the most important factor, I think, for families and for us as players is to get in and have a chance to play right away. And yeah, step number 4 is obviously announcing where you have decided to go play for, and then our agency also helps with all the paperwork needed, like the NCAA or NIA clearinghouse, your visa process if you're international, and so on. So yeah, that's basically each one of the slides. Joe, you can keep going here so we don't take too long.
Sure. Yeah.
I love to, once we're done, start getting some questions and introduce each coach, let them talk about their programs. Like I said, we have Coach Velez at Barry, Coach Andy at Eastern Michigan, and Coach Nathalie Silva at UC Riverside. They're 3 awesome programs. Coach Nathalie is from Brazil herself and very familiar with players from South America, and Coach Carlos is currently coaching a couple kids from Brazil as well. Coach Andy has, I'm sure, worked with a lot of players from Brazil and South America. Right now, he's got Vicente Quiroga, which is probably a top 3 junior in South America, committed for 2026. He's from Bolivia. So he also knows golf in South America really well. So again, thank you guys for joining us. I'll let you guys speak for a little bit, and then we'll pass it on to any questions for parents or players.
Yeah, maybe let's do that. We can have each of the coaches kind of introduce themselves and their programs, what they look for, and maybe some tips right off the bat for student athletes, and maybe advice that you could give them on the process, and then we can open up to Q&A.
Awesome. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go, guys. Andy Walker, Eastern Michigan University. I guess a brief intro is obviously grew up playing junior golf, so understand the recruiting process, not just from the coach's side, but from the player's side. I played at 2 different levels. I played a year of junior college golf, had a good run there, and went on to play at Pepperdine University. We're at a good run there, won the 1997 NCAA championship, was an All-American player there, 2-time All-Region player. And then went and played for 12 and a half years professionally, all around the world, and got into coaching as a path. Obviously for your players, it's the same as for coaches. I've coached at the junior college level, I've coached at the D2 level, and I've coached at the D1 level for the last 5 years. So it's just like Luis was saying, there's a place for everybody, and the one thing I can really press is, don't think because it says D3 or D2 that it's not as good as D1. I had a D2 team at Lynn that would wax pretty much every D1 team. So it's so that I always do make sure that it's finding the right fit for you, finding the right coach, the right culture, sometimes the right environment that's going to really be specific to what you're looking for as a player and as a family. What we look for in players, that I'm in a pretty unique situation at Eastern Michigan, where we have a donor who's looking to get players out on tour. And so we're looking for players of that caliber. Just like you said, we have Vicente from Bolivia. He's a top 150 Wagger kid, really good. But I tell you what really excites me. I've had a lot of success with South American and Central American players, a lot of Latinos on the teams that when I coached at Lynn. When we were at VCU, Luis and I had a kid from Chile on the team. Now I've got a kid from Argentina, Leandro Mahaich, on the team. And then, Vicente coming in next year. Is the coach-player fit. The players that play for me have a little bit of swag. They're probably not the quietest kids. Vicente, when he committed, he said, "I'm taking my Bolivian sauce to Michigan." I love that, right? The kid's got a little pizzazz in them. But, it's really I would say for the players and the parents, spend time talking a lot about the things that interest you. And because as coaches, we're looking to say, not only is this a really good player or maybe a really good student, but do I want to be around this kid for the next 4 years? And so we spend a lot of time together on the road, eating, talking, getting to know about each other's families and likes and dislikes and hobbies and stuff. So I've obviously had to get more into, I guess, not what we call soccer, right? Your football. I've had to learn how to do that because I get so many Europeans and Latino players, and I know that you guys love it. So, it's stuff that I've had to learn to adjust and learn about as well in the culture. But, my thing is that the top things I'm looking for is a player who is definitely well-traveled. I want a player whose game leaves their local region. There's a lot of players that are really good in their home state, in their home country, in their region, and maybe the game doesn't move so easily. Golf is different in the States. We play really fast greens, right? We play a lot of different conditions. So it's does a player well-traveled and is a player, do they know how to win? And it doesn't really matter. It's hard to win any golf tournament these days. So does a player know how to get in contention and pull it out? Doesn't matter who it's against all the time. Now, obviously, the better competition, the bigger players and ranked players in there helps. But you like seeing a player that has a lead and can shoot 2 or 3 or 4 under the last day to finish it off. That means a lot to my coaching staff. But when everyone says, "What's your philosophy on recruiting?" I'm always honest and say, "I don't know until I see it." Right? I love to see I'll rarely sign a player that I've never seen hit a golf shot. That just doesn't happen unless they're a top 20 or 30 wagger player in the world. You don't need to see them. You know how good they are already. But, you have to be able to see the move, hear the shot coming off of there. Some coaches like players that they can tinker with the swings a little bit. I like players that need help on course management and moving around a golf course and understanding how to breathe and dealing with the mental side and emotional side of the game. So I won't take too much time off. That's kind of what we're looking for at Eastern Michigan. Don't always get caught up, parents and players, into your wagger ranking. I've seen players that are ranked 200 wagger that, can't break 80, and players that are 2,000 wagger that shoot 65 every day. So, rankings doesn't mean everything. And, Luis helped us, get a player that's a freshman for me, Joshua Hess, who's done great. He was the first person to tell me about this kid. Didn't know much about him. He wasn't ranked very high, but Luis thought a lot of him. And the kid's come in as a freshman. He's been my number 2 player. He's a 4.0 student. He's averaging under par. He's already had a couple top 10s in his first season. He works hard. He's a dream student athlete. So for someone like that, Luis keeps sending me some of those. And, maybe some of the other guys you send not so much.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And very happy for you guys. You're taking Eastern Michigan to that next level, and it's pretty cool to see. And happy for Joshua as well, who obviously had a strong first semester there. And you got him just at the right time, which I love to see.
Okay, I'll go ahead next. Carlos Velez is my name. I was born in Barranquilla, Colombia, and moved to the States back in 2000. Went to Barry University, so played junior golf in Miami, and was part of the first national championship team that we had here. Kind of like put Barry in the map. Coach Jimmy Stobbs sold me on this dream, on this goal of playing, as many events as you could play. While trying to evolve and develop and go around the country. And I said, man, you know what? I wanted to stay home. I'm a family guy. I'm a big family guy. So I wanted to stay close to my mom and dad, who didn't speak the language very well. So staying around them was really important for me. And came to Barry, and we were really lucky. I mean, we had a call of destiny and won nationals my freshman year. And I think the rest has been kind of like history for the program. Then we were able to get a couple players that have come here and have bought into the same model, playing good golf, playing smart golf. After college, I was an All-American. I won conference my senior year individually. After college, I played professionally for a little bit. I tried that. And I'm sure like Andy and some of the other coaches could tell you, I mean, playing professional golf is a tall task. You have to have a lot of funding, but it opens other doors, right? So, I mean, once I decided I wasn't going to play professionally, I went into working for the First Tee of Miami, which is one of the biggest junior programs in the country. We run the Doral Junior Classic in December. I'm still involved with that tournament too. And, I decided I wanted to mentor kids. Segue to that, I go and I caddy for a couple of years on the PGA Tour for a gentleman by the name of Eric Compton. If you've heard the name before, Eric finished second at the 2014 U.S. Open behind Martin Keimer. I helped him, kind of like, well, I didn't really do much. I just carry the bag, but I helped him be comfortable enough to where, his goal was to keep his card in the 2015 season. We did that for a little bit, and who would have thought that for a couple of years later, I was going to replace my coach. He was going to go on a different boat. A different school, and for me it was really nice to come back to where it all started for me as a player, and we came back to Barry. Some of the things we look for is, we try to look for players that want to do things right, and what we mean by that is work ethic. The things that are not coachable. How's your work ethic? Do you like work hard? You have to have really good time management skills, right? I mean, we're in a big city, one of the best cities in the world right now. Miami, so you have a lot of distractions. So it's like, I tell the kids all the time, how do we make sure that Miami doesn't beat you? That you could stay focused on the things you could do. So we like to ask a lot of questions. What do you do? Besides playing golf, and academics are important. Obviously English wasn't my first language, so I try to tell all our recruits from Latin America or from Europe or any other countries, let's make sure that you're working on your English, because at some point you're going to have a placement test for English. You want to be able to get accepted to some of the schools. So I always tell the parents, and I tell the recruits early on, hey, how's your English? Let's speak in English instead of Spanish. Everybody's really comfortable speaking to me in Spanish, but at the same time, it's really important that they could speak English, because that's how they're going to survive in college. And academics is really important. I'm sure coaches are going to tell you about what they're looking for in their different models, whether it's D1, D2, NAIA, or junior college. Academics is a big part of the puzzle for us, because we give academic scholarships. So it's important that you're also taking care of what you have to do in the classroom besides the golf course. We love winners. Winners are really important, and it's the reason why we try to get players like Eduardo and like Guy, who are here playing for us right now. We like, because they know how to win. But the idea is, if you know how to win and you become Jack Nicklaus Award winners here, if you learn how to win multiple events at the D2 model, then you're going to find out, like they're seeing now, players like AJ Ewart or Adam Svensson or George Garcia, who are going to be playing in third stage this week. It's important. If you could win enough at this level in this schedule, it's going to help you be able to take that game to the next level. So that's really good. We're really lucky. We're a program that's really supported here in Miami, in a place where South Florida right now, where golf is booming, right? I mean, Andy, and I think golf is booming everywhere. But it's really nice to have the community behind us. But yeah, so we're excited to be here and to answer any questions that parents might have later.
It's my turn. Should I do this Portuguese or in English?
Well, I think Portuguese is fine.
Maybe.
I mean, unless
Portuguese.
maybe Carlos and Andy will not understand, so feel free.
All right. Então, eu tô aqui na Universidade de Riverside, na Califórnia. É uma UC, né? Uma universidade do estado. Grande, 22 mil estudantes. A minha história com golfe, algumas pessoas aí do Brasil já sabem, mas eu estava no Brasil, vim para a CBU, que é uma escola aqui da Califórnia, em 2009, e era NAIA, era NAIA, uma escola NAIA. E depois de 2 anos que eu estava aqui, ela virou divisão 2, e logo depois da faculdade eu era assistant coach da CBU também, que virou divisão 1. E o meu trabalho como head coach foi numa divisão 3, e agora eu estou numa divisão 1. Então eu já vi todas as divisões. Acho que a única associação que eu não trabalhei ainda foi a Community College, né, que é o JUCO, que o pessoal fala, mas uma coisa que o coach Andy falou, e é muito real, assim, não fique tão focado nas divisões. Assim, se foque um pouco mais onde você quer estar, em termos de, principalmente para a gente brasileiro, a temperatura, o estado que você for, o weather é muito importante. Então, é muito importante você estar pesquisando sobre a universidade, vai nevar metade do ano, coisas assim que é muito mais importante para você pesquisar de começo, assim. Eu vou começar a fazer uma lista de escolas que eu gostaria de estudar, e começa por estados que o brasileiro ficaria um pouquinho mais confortável de passar o ano. Acho que é um bom começo. Eu acho que várias pessoas que vieram para a Califórnia ou Flórida se sentem um pouco mais aclimado. Texas é um estado bom também. Mas uma coisa muito, muito importante é o quão importante é o coach para você. Uma coisa que o Carlos falou, que ele quer ajudar os atletas a chegarem no nível profissional, também tem esse tipo de razões que você pode ir para uma universidade. O coach vai me ajudar a ser profissional, o coach vai me ajudar a passar, a tirar notas boas, qual o objetivo do coach com o time. Eu acho que é importante também de ver, porque se você está indo numa faculdade que você quer ser sei lá, um doctor, e o coach acaba te puxando mais para o golfe, e você tem que treinar, então tem alguns majors que não dá para fazer no college. Então tem alguns programas que você vai querer para o seu academics e não vai funcionar com a agenda que a gente tem com o golfe. Por exemplo, no meu time, acho que a agenda mais difícil é o pessoal de biology, né, que está fazendo biologia. E há um momento, principalmente quando eles chegam no senior, que é o último ano, fica muito difícil fazer golfe e jogar. Então, essa parte de escolher onde você quer ir, o que você quer estudar, as características do coach, o que ele está procurando para você, e o que você quer para você também é muito importante. Eu acho que, vindo de uma divisão 3, eu estava na divisão 3 na Laverne por 3 anos, e a faculdade é completamente focada nos estudos. Então, era assim, se meu time estava abaixo de 3,5, a minha chefe já falava para mim, a gente vai ter que pausar alguns treinos. E aqui na divisão 1 é quase que o reverso, assim, né? Tipo, a gente puxa, assim, para tirar as notas boas, mas ao mesmo tempo a gente está 100% no golfe. É como se fosse um trabalho, assim, o time management, você saber lidar com seus horários, planejar muito bem a semana. Para a divisão 1, divisão 2 é muito importante. E não esqueçam do Duke College. Eu acho que seria umas das maneiras mais fáceis, assim, vamos dizer que você é um senior, você está no último ano de high school aí no Brasil, não tem nenhuma offer. Duke College é um modo um pouco mais fácil de entrar e mais barato também. Tem Duke College aí de 20 mil por ano, muito mais barato do que você entrar numa dívida gigantesca aí com as escolas que agora está $80 mil por ano e não conseguir nem viajar com o time. Outra coisa também, no momento da pesquise quantas pessoas estão no roster. Divisão 1, a gente está fechado com 9, mas tem divisão 2 que tem 11, 12, 13, e só viajam 5, 6. Tem escolas que tem muito dinheiro que viaja todo mundo, mas a grande maioria vai viajar com 5 em 6. Então, você estar no roster do time não significa que você está jogando. Então, se jogar é importante para você, então, ver o tamanho do roster é muito importante. Eu tinha 10 no time na divisão 3 e só tinha 1 ou 2 torneios que a gente viajava o time inteiro. Então, se você quer jogar, participar do time, é muito importante ver o tamanho do roster também. Localização, roster.
Jogar os campeonatos, né? Se quiser jogar os campeonatos, né? A gente treina junto com o time, joga junto, mas para os torneios acaba sendo mais.
Faz tudo junto. Eu joguei quando eu jogava na CBU, tinha meninas do time que não jogaram um torneio no ano. Então, e por duas coisas, se você quiser transferir dessa universidade por uma outra e você não está jogando o torneio, as chances de transferir para uma escola melhor são mínimas. Então, coisinhas assim que tem que dar uma pesquisada antes de investir numa escola. Uma coisa que eu falo, acho que eu comentei com algumas pessoas aí no Brasil já, sigam todos os coaches no social media. Eu acho que é um jeito de você começar a conhecer a escola e as características do coach também. Vai lá no Instagram, me segue os coach Andy, o Carlos, porque desse jeito vocês vão começar a conhecer o nosso jeito de coach. Sigam as universidades que vocês têm interesse também no Instagram. Acho que hoje em dia o pessoal tem postado muito mais e acho que vai dar um pouquinho, uma melhor ideia de onde vocês querem ir e como vocês querem fazer. E as empresas ajudando, como a SSM, é muito importante, gente. É muito trabalho para os pais, para ficar mandando e-mail diariamente para os coaches. Eles sabem o que estão fazendo também, eles conseguem. Vamos dizer que você está jogando agora, você é senior, está jogando 85, eles vão saber exatamente as escolas que estão procurando por esse resultado e não ser tão lunáticos de quererem divisão 1, e tem vários níveis de divisão 1, a gente é número 200 do ranking, então você tem mais ou menos uma ideia do que a gente está procurando, dependendo do nosso ranking. O meu 2026, eu estou fechada, mas o meu goal era chegar o mais próximo possível de 71 average, né? tá tentando diminuir o score do time, assim, mas tem vários níveis de divisão 1, tem vários níveis de divisão 2, tem escola de divisão 2 que conseguem ganhar do meu time agora, masculino e feminino, tem escola de divisão 3 que consegue ganhar do meu time masculino agora, feminino. Então, acho que dá uma olhadinha também no ranking importante e não ficar tão focado em divisões. I think é uma coisa que é vendido muito fora dos Estados Unidos, em termos de divisão 1, 2 e 3 e 4. Tem todos os tipos de jogadores, todos os tipos de escola que todo mundo tem chance de entrar em alguma escola.
Obrigado.
De nada. Português tá meio ruim, mas deu.
Natalie, can you say that in English now?
I could.
Boa, Nathalie, obrigado.
Awesome. Well, I think at this time, we'd love to open it up to questions. If you want to write those in the chat or speak up and ask the questions, either way would be great. But we'd love to hear what are some of the questions or maybe concerns that you have about the process, about anything directly to the coaches or playing, anything that you heard about what they spoke about. But yeah, we'd like to open it up at this time and answer anything that you have on your mind.
Mama, I think if you're trying to talk, you're on mute. Oh, open your mic.
Okay.
Easy.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, raise your hand, guys, and open your mic.
Okay. Sorry, because I'm in the phone. So, sorry, and I entered the call not in the beginning. So maybe if you've discussed this before, just apologize in advance. So, basically, I wanted to know how's the ASM service in terms of timing, schedules, and prices mainly. So basically that. And thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I think I think I know the coaches are kind of tight on time. So if you guys first, Andy's at the coaches convention, if you needed to go, feel free, or if you have anything else to add, thank you guys for joining again. We can do all these questions just after the coaches go, if that, or unless you have a lot of time.
I'm good. Fire away.
Yeah,
But yeah, basically, so obviously as coaches, they can only talk to athletes who are juniors or seniors in high school. So if you're a 2028 recruit, the first time you can speak to coaches is June 15 of 2026. So that is something to keep in mind. We like to get our athletes started around 3 years before graduation, so we can work with them for like a year. And once June 15 hits, they can already get the ball rolling, talk directly to coaches, and advance in the process directly within athlete and coach, But there's a lot that we can do on the year before that. So I would say starting point is about 3 years before graduation from high school. Requirements, obviously, you want to have multiple day tournaments. Coaches are not necessarily looking at your club 1 day events. They want to see you playing Wagger events that give you points that may let you get into those rankings if you're not in. And they also want to see you traveling internationally, like Andy was saying. They want players that their games can travel, And so whether you're going to play around South America or coming to the US a few times a year, I think that's something that will help you a lot. I think at the end we'll pull up the different memberships and dive into prices a little bit, but it's gonna range between $2,000 up to $8,000, depending on what the families and the athletes are looking for.
Okay, thank you very much, Luis. Just if you allow me, just make a question to the coaches. So just to know from them if they follow the championships in South America and how often does that happen? Because I know you're very busy. And if it happens, of course, with the greater championships that we have in the region, if that's the case. Okay, thank you.
I guess I can answer that. I follow all the Latin American tournaments, South and Central Americans. I'll be at the LAC, down in Peru here, next month. I haven't missed one probably the last, goodness, I think 8 or 9 years. And I've been to the South American Junior, I've been to South American AM. So I make sure that I've built a career off of players from South and Central America. So I make sure that I'm always, and I think you're going to find a lot of coaches that have those niches, to different regions. The good thing too with ASM is Luis is shooting us the results of tournaments down there all the time. So we get to stay, pretty well abreast of what's going on in that region as well.
Carlos is from Colombia. I believe it's the same, right, Carlos?
Yes, it's pretty much the same. We're gonna look at all the different tournaments, Sudamericano, the whether they play, if they're making their, I think Andy and a program like ours and some of the top level programs, we're gonna be looking at, are you making your country's team, right? Are you playing representing your country, whether you're in Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, so on. We do use ASM and different recruiters that send us all this information too. But I love to watch golf. I don't think I sleep when I'm watching golf and staying up trying to figure out, where is everybody playing at. But yeah, I think that's the really neat thing about golf now, how, the RNA and the USGA, they're doing such a great job of creating more opportunities for everybody to be able to play and to be able to expose their game. So yes, we love to watch it, and we're either at WAGR, Junior Golf Scoreboard. If your federation ends up, reporting the scores to there too. The tournaments have to be 2-day events there, so sometimes you do see who the international ranked players are there too. So I like to catch up on that too.
And just a follow-up question what is the balance between tournaments in the region and tournaments in the US? Because of course, when you see a kid playing in the US, as Andy mentioned before, you see him playing in a different place where he lives, right? So different courses, different field, different challenges. How parents should balance these trips and investments and all that, besides only staying in your own country?
I think a lot of that's going to be based off of, each family's financial situation, right? Where can they get to? So my whole team is international. So I'm not watching much golf here in the States, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think with our coaching staff this year, we've been to Spain, to the UK a couple of times, Argentina, Japan, Mexico, Colombia. We've been everywhere, looking at these players. So it just really depends, where can you get to? Different players are going to have the financial resources to get to, to different events. If you're playing for the national team, they may send them to like Orange Bowl. I go to Orange Bowl because it's such a heavily international event every year. That's, down there in Miami, close to Carlos. I'll see him in a couple of weeks over there. And, but, so it just really depends. It's going to be, I think each, family's situation is going to be, and their tournament, playing experience. It's not a must that you're traveling to play in the United States all the time to play,
Yes.
right? If your game travels, to different, even states or cities and stuff like that, it's just important that you're not playing, 12 out of 13 tournaments at your home golf course.
Yeah, I think I speak for myself, but I'm looking at all the rankings, not just the US rankings, but I have like open tabs for all the rankings that's been going on. Brazil, of course, it's close to my heart, so it's a country that I'm going to be following. And because it's so saturated, the top 10 schools are going to grab the top 10 players in the US. So for me, it's important for me to be looking at the Asian rankings and European rankings, South American rankings, just so we can get that cream of the crop. I don't believe it's because, especially like watching the Brazilian tournaments, I don't believe it's that important to be traveling to the US as often or even travel at all, because I know the strength of the tournaments in Brazil. And I know that if you're playing at San Fernando and you go there and shoot even par, then you're a pretty good player. So for us to get to know the players, like I have on the roster coming, I have China, Myanmar, and it's just by watching them, checking the golf courses, the ratings, and kind of being a little bit wiser on the stats side of it and figuring out, okay, this player can really play, and not getting in Brazil, CBG, the federations do a pretty good job of having you all traveling. You're not stuck in São Paulo. You go to the south, north, and you play around. So for us to be seeing that you're not just playing the US kids stuff or the US Brazil stuff and the São Paulo Federation, but you're bouncing between places to places, and not really. At some point, we're not necessarily attached to that one score. We're looking beyond that. Like, are you playing 5,000 yards course or are you playing 7,000 yards course? So there's a little bit of research on our side to see, is this kid number one in Brazil because he's playing easy courses or he's playing the tough courses, which I know, and I'm sure Andy and Carlos have the idea as well because they've done it so much with international. So I think it is a good question. That's a pretty good question, but I don't think it is necessarily, it's not going to put you in that special place just because you came to the US and played 10 times here.
Great.
Yeah. And to add just to what they both said, it's a tremendous sacrifice, right, for parents to take a trip to the US. So I think it's our job as coaches to also decipher, right? Your game might not be great that week. Whether you're playing at the Optimist or the Orange Bowl or the Doral Publix, which are some of the tournaments we have down here in South Florida. But, we're going to figure it out, right? We're going to figure out, okay, can this player, you're going to Google their name, and you're going to see what they're shooting and where they're at. And it's just more like, okay, can they get used to playing in the wind if they're playing for me here in South Florida? Obviously the grass might be a little grainier in some areas, or Andy, I'm sure you're bent grass right up there. So it's understanding, where are you playing at and doing all the other things that we talked about earlier. How is he or she behaving in the golf course, right? Do they look like they have the championship mold, the championship stuff that you're looking for? That's what we're really looking for when we see them in person. So you don't have to go out there and play 5, 6, or 7 events in the United States, because that's going to be costly. Just if you get to play one, if whether it's with a federation or you get into the Doral Junior Classic or anything, or the Junior Honda Classic in West Palm, we're going to see you, we're going to see your scores, and we're going to see if your game is traveling and you're getting the right exposure. All the coaches are watching whether they're there or not.
And making to the national team is, I think, a huge plus. If you're making to any national team, you're the cream of the crop on that country. And that's going to put you, I would rather have a player that, travel with the national team than one that just stayed local and played one event, shot under par, won a couple events. I would rather pick a player like how I played the national team, because then that there's the experience. The person is probably a little bit more independent, even though we are there to coach and manage and help. We like to have players that are a little independent, that they can do their own stuff without needing too much of us.
And thanks a lot. I think I love the approach. But do you think that's the truth for all universities and coaches? So I don't know, let's say University of Texas, super competitive team, like top team. Do you think the coach there is also looking every place in the world, or he's more focused in the US? I think that's a important question.
Well, I think they've been talking a lot about how international college golf has become, way more than when I played. There was no international players on my college team, and now the same university has a few people that are international on the team, and I think every school is looking to get I always said when I was at Lynn University and pretty much everywhere I've gone since then, at that time I couldn't get the number one player in Florida, right? He wasn't going to come to play at Lynn, but I could get the number one player in Chile, the number one player in Italy, the number one player in Colombia, who's probably better than the number one player in Florida, to be honest, and probably more traveled and has played national team events, has played some professional events, has been under a development, team. And what I love about, what Natalie said with the national teams is they've traveled together. It's more of a family than the golf here in the United States, not to criticize it because there's great players, but it's a very individualized, system that they grow up playing in, where the national teams, they're used to traveling together, playing as a team in team championships, whether it's Copa Andes or whatever, the events are as a team. And so I love going to a country and trying to get two players from that country that were on a national team together. I love stuff like that because they've had that camaraderie already. They played for each other already. There's a little more pride that goes along with them, to your program than just getting individuals. So I think every program that's successful is looking everywhere they can. Obviously, University of Texas can get the number one player in Texas, right? But the number one player in Brazil is pretty good too. So they're making sure that they get the number one player that wherever they can find them.
Perfect. Thank you. Let me. Arthur has raised his hand for a little while. Arthur.
Okay. I have a question for the coaches also. Like, what are the criteria? My grades matter most, or my golf, like it's a 50-50, or depends from the university that I'm going?
It's a good one. That's I could answer that. In our case, it's obviously the golf is going to be very important. It's going to be what is going to catch your eyes, right? The golf is really important, but then the academic side is what's going to get you into the school, right? In some cases, some schools, like at Barry University, we don't need the SAT. Once the NCAA adopted the rule of not having the SAT, we relaxed for our department the rule of that. So you don't need the SAT, but you need to have good grades, because the better your grades are, at Division II level, our equivalency is 3.6 scholarships. So that's the only thing I have is 3.6 scholarships. And I would say I have a team of 14 guys, but I would say my top 8 are where I divide those 3.6 scholarships. Obviously, the number 1, 2, and 3 are probably going to have the biggest part of that. And depending how much you impact the team, you're going to get more or less money. Well, if you're a 4.0 student, you're almost getting half of that money academically. So I want that. I want you to have academic scholarships, because then you're going to help me to not have to give you everything from my athletic budget. That's why it's important. Number one. Number two, I think what speaks volumes about your academics is, and I'm sure this coach is going to tell you the same, if you're a starter, if you're playing every golf tournament, that means you're going to play 12 tournaments a year. That means you're going to be gone a lot. So if you're going to be gone and you're going to be traveling a lot, we need to know that you're going to be able to take care of your work at home, whether you're in a hotel or somewhere else. And that's really what your academic profile is telling us.
And mine is a UC school, so I'm actually stuck with some GPAs. The school won't accept anything, to be honest with you, below 3.2. It's a push for me to get a 3.3 or 3.4. So it depends on the school you want to go.
Yeah.
And then on my side, a lot of the English scores and math scores have to be higher than traditional schools. So it literally, like Carlos said, it's a lot of who we want on the program, but also, are you going to be accepted? And when you are, how much of a scholarship do I have to give to you through athletics? And then how much can the school give to you through academics? Like my goal is to get athletes with high GPA. So I can use only a minimum amount from athletics. So it's like a game that we play, like we manage the money, like you get a little bit through academics and then a little bit through athletics, and then you have a full ride. It's better for both.
Yes.
Perfect. Francisco, go.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry. in terms of academics, okay, when you're saying the GPA, the 3.2, 3.4, how is it built? Since we're in an international student, will be an international student, is it equivalencies of the Brazilian grade or European grade? Since my kid is also Portuguese, I don't know where I'll be in 6 years. It'll be when it'll be a senior. Okay, how does that work in terms of equivalencies, or is it a test and like an SAT that you take at the end of your senior year, at your junior year? How does that work?
Well, once you get into the recruiting process with the team, the first thing they're going to ask for is your transcripts.
Okay.
Right. So what will happen is most internationals is your transcripts have to get translated.
Okay.
Right. So they'll go to a translation company. I'm sure ASM, you probably guys help with that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say we helped them translate the last 4 years of
But
high school.
you translate, sorry, the academic curriculum for them to validate if it's
So that's what the translation is.
legal in the US.
And then it gets sent to our NCAA clearinghouse. So all the players will sign up for that. And then when the translated transcripts get to them, then they review it and they upload it, and they'll let you know, like in real time, like where you're at, like you need these core classes. Right now you're a qualifier. Right now you're a non-qualifier. So they kind of, the NCAA with ASM's help, they'll walk you through the whole process. A lot of universities will help you do that as well. You know, because what we want to make sure is that we have to, in essence, we're all running little companies, right? I'm running Eastern Michigan Golf. And so I've got to be really fiscally responsible with our money. So investing and making an offer to a player who last minute may not be eligible, which I've done, right? I've been guilty of.
You're missing your budget there, and then
that's right. And a player.
That's
right. And so, we make sure that we get on top of that, early enough. Now, again, it really depends on, are you trying to go to a Ivy League school, right? The academic criteria to get into there is going to be different than it may be at Eastern Michigan, where I'm at, right? So it's like, what are these, what is each, individual school, what are their requirements for getting admitted? And then what's the NCAA's requirements for being eligible at, each different level?
Yeah, but as naturally, and also Carlos was saying, then you'll get like a mix of this athletic scholarship and academic scholarship. The part of the academic scholarship, is it built through your college career, or you can start your college career with an academic scholarship also?
You start with an academic. You can start with an academic scholarship. For at UCR, you have a baseline to where you started. Like if you have a 3.5, you're gonna get a chunk of money. You're gonna get a good chunk of money, and then it goes up with your GPA. And then to stay there, you have to keep up the grades. You will lose academics as you drop your GPA in my school. So it's important to stay. And then let's say on your second year, you go 4.0 honors class and all of the accolades, then it goes higher, which is nice as well. President's list, and there's a bunch of ways to get more scholarship as you go. And then unfortunately, you can also lose those scholarship as you go as well. Great question.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, sorry, I have another question, maybe directly to Andy, because I might have a misconception here, which is if the northern schools and colleges and are located in the states which are colder. And this is from my experience. I had a chance to live near Boston when I was 17, and I arrived in January in the prime of my golf, and it snowed until April, so I played zero golf from that period. And I have a feeling or a misconception, as I mentioned, that if my kid goes to school in the northern part of the country, that he won't be playing as much as he should. Or how does it work there in the winter? Because it gets really cold. I know that.
It does, Marcel. That's a great question. And that was the main question when I left VCU to come up here. So the two tournaments that have been canceled since I've been at Eastern Michigan was in Florida and Arizona. So for weather. But with that being said, you know, the reason why I went to Eastern Michigan is we have the financial resources. We get out of there. So we play when we get to school in August. Obviously, we play September. We're playing October. We play in November. And then, is it cold now? It is cold. And guess what? Nobody's there. So our guys are already done. They're done for the semester. They're out of there. You know, they're back at home playing their events. When we come back in January, we have the resources that we spend pretty much 3 to 4 days a week in Florida, practicing and playing. And so, and then we come back and we go to school, and then we go back down there because we don't have school on Fridays. And so we have 2 Mondays off in January. So we stretch that from Thursday evening to Monday evening. And so we're playing, you know, 4 or 5 straight days. But we don't start back until almost the end of January. So by the time we've done that for a couple of weeks and played our tournaments that are 3 or 4 days on the road, you know, we're not missing any school. And luckily I'm at a place that has the resources that we can hop on a jet anytime we want and get down to Florida, get down to California, get down to Arizona and prepare for the tournaments. So yeah, so we're and that was a big thing for me. Does the same thing. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know anything about the snow, but once this job and this opportunity came about, the main thing was, can I get out of there when it's cold? And we play more golf now that I'm in Michigan than we did when we were in Virginia, right, during the January and February months, just because of the resources that we have.
Marcelo, that's a good, like Andy said, like the resource is very important. Let's say you get some offers with your son, just ask those questions. Like ask, is like, hey, what do you do when it's winter there? And then if the coach has the answer that Andy, sign up, because you're traveling, you're out and about when it's cold, and it's a great school for you to go. But if they said it would just stay on campus, play indoors golf, and some of the schools will use the football field, so that's something to take in account for when you're signing up with schools. But yeah, Andy does a pretty good job at it, at traveling when it's cold.
But yeah, I also, like, I would say a lot of teams up north like have access to really good indoor facilities, to trackmans, multiple trackmans for the team, foresight, simulator golf. Traveled, like when I was at Arkansas State for 2 years. Obviously snows there, but the kids had access to trackman, football field, to at least do wedges, you know, 80-yard, up to 80-yard shots. And yeah, the team travels down south. We used to go to like Houston for a week to prep for that first tournament of the spring. At VCU, we had great indoors facilities. We had our own bay to put the heaters up, trackman, couple more trackmans where you can play like simulator golf, and the weather wasn't that bad, but the resources are really good when you have to stay indoor for a couple days or for 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. Pepe. Tarmud.
Good evening, everyone. We have here, Nachi. We have a few kids here, students they're listening, and they're very curious to ask you all something that relates the score average with the division of the school. In other words, they have extremely good grades, really stand above the school, and they're starting to break 80 right now. And they're curious to know if there is a relationship between the score average and the division of the school. If you guys can mention something about that.
I mean, I guess go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I've been through all the divisions, not necessarily the relationship between scoring and the school, but scoring and which division you're going to. Not necessarily like the Division 1 will only take on the 60s. Really, it's like what schools can take my score, and you can find schools to take your score on a Division 1, 2, 3, or JUCO college. I think it depends on the research you do. I think the main thing is to, you know, open the website and see what they're shooting right now. Am I within the 4th and 5th player right there? Like, if you take the 4th and 5th score and average what you're averaging, that's probably a school you want to reach out to. And if it is far-fetched, then I think you should put that as the bottom of your list. But I think, let's say you're breaking 80, then you're looking at the top 50 on the D3 level, and you know, and then it moves to the top 100 on D2 and then top 200 on D1. I think that's kind of a baseline, a little bit easier to go for. JUCO, they can host a lot of people, so I'm sure that it differs from state to state. But I would say start by looking at the states I want to go at, the schools I'm looking at, and then what are the scores that number 4 and 5th are shooting, and you have an idea if you fit right in or you're too far from it.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And I'll always say that, you know, don't get caught up in division and scores, right? My number 1 player played junior college last year, all right? And he's already won at the D1 level, you know, as his first year. What ASM and Luis are really good at is kind of ciphering that out, right? They're not going to send somebody who's not going to play at a top 10, you know, D1 school, a player that doesn't fit their mold, right? They're not going to waste that kind of time. So they get really good. Like, you know, Luis will ask me sometimes, like, where do you think the player, you know, kind of fits inside of this scheme or that scheme or this division? So there's a lot of, you know, they're going to help you through that process. You know, they're not going to, you know, put you in a place that is below your level, and they're not going to put you in a place that is way too, you know, tough for you to travel and be successful at.
Yeah, our goal is to obviously find that balance where obviously you have a good chance to play, but you're also one of the top players for the coaches while they're recruiting. It's just as a player, you may talk to 5, 6 schools. As coaches, they're gonna talk to 5 to 6 kids. So to be able to land that offer, you wanna be in the top of the recruits, and yeah. So we obviously do everything we can, look at scores, look at where you're playing, what players you're bidding. We look at their stats, and from then we have a pretty good idea of, okay, I know Andy's gonna like this kid, and I also know and feel like the kid is gonna come and play right away. So that's the kind of balance we want to have.
And I think one of the common threads that you're hearing from the coaches right now is that, you know, obviously everybody wants to perform the best that they can with scores, with grades, and put forward their best foot in this process, because that's going to help you, you know, have as much success as possible. But there's differences at each level, at even different schools within those levels. And so, you know, one of the things that again ASM does is help you find those matches at those different levels. And one of the things that we've is part of our partnership with CBG is a free assessment right off the bat. So as Luis was talking about, we're going to take a look at different factors that the coaches have mentioned, and then we'll help put together a short list of universities that could be the best fit based on those things, based on, you know, what the athlete maybe wants to study, a particular region of you know, whatever that criteria is. We'll put together that for you just to make sure that you're connecting with the right universities instead of wasting too much time casting the nets wide and doing a lot of research. So we'll start that off with a free assessment to give you something to think about and a game plan moving forward.
And
Yeah,
I think it was clear for everyone, but Guilherme Zicardi and Eduardo Ferreira Matarazzo, they're both with Carlos at Barry. So and you guys kind of know the level of game they play. Eduardo has been playing like great golf lately for a little while, but lately he has shooting some 64s around, right, Carlos?
Yes, yeah.
Players. Fred Biondi, for example, he played at University of Florida. So he played a lot when he was junior in Florida. and then he ended up going to Gators. And for example, Duda Rocha and Valentina Bosman, they're both in, if I'm not wrong, University of South Florida in Tampa. Is it South or Southern Florida? I always get
South Florida.
South Florida.
You also have Guilherme Greenberg. He's at Florida Atlantic down the road here as a senior. He's doing quite well. He didn't play there right away. I don't think he played for his year 1 and 2. And his last 2 years have been pretty good at Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic University. Yeah, that's true. No, just to make everyone aware here.
And his sister also played Division II golf at Barry, actually.
Very good. Lauren, she's a very good player too. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great examples.
Yeah, and Pedro, just to answer another question for the students over there, it like at my level, the player I'm looking like Eduardo, like Guy, is the ability to shoot under par. You don't have to do it all the time, because if you do it all the time, then you'll be you wouldn't be talking to a top D2 level school. You'll be talking to a top D1 level like Andy, or even like a top 25. But it's just the ability, like when we see a 64, it's like, oh, he could shoot that. And then, you could probably, okay, how bad is your bad? I think we try to grade a lot of players by okay, how good is your good and how bad is your bad? And how do we get it to be in between? And yes, with the help of Luis and Joseph, like they know what players to send Andy, Natalie, myself. They know, okay, Carlos, this guy fits in your game. This is, I think I could see him playing year 2 or year 3. And that's also the process, right? There's a process when we sign some players, what's our vision for the player? Do we see them developing them a little bit? Can we have a chance to, teach them how to play on, the wind shots? There's not much wind in some of the areas where you guys play at, right? So if you get to a place where it's windy and it's blowing, let's call it 40 kilometers per hour, you better know how to flight that ball down. So it's like maybe year 1 is developing that and understanding where you fall in that category. But yeah, it really goes back to doing your homework, having guys like Luis and Joseph that can help you to guide you. Okay, this is where we see you, or this is the school you should reach out to. And then when you write that email with them, is putting on that subject who you are. If you're ranked really high in Brazil, if you play for the federation, if you're what your scoring average is, because we're all looking for how close to par or under par are you in that scoring average.
All the schools, they have the average scoring in the websites, or no?
Most of them, yeah. Most of them keep it up to date.
Yeah.
Some may have last year's, not this year, but yeah, most of them should have it for sure.
And you could go to the ranking system scoreboard. Now that we use scoreboard's really good at putting everything up, what everybody's doing and what they're shooting and so on.
Perfect.
Thank you for the answer, guys. Perfect.
I'm gonna send on the Brazilian group chat. There's a website actually that you can go and put your score now, and that will kind of narrow down. It's not super updated, but it's like about 1.5 years ago scoring average for the schools, so you will have at least an idea of where you fit in.
Oh, nice. What else, guys? Come on, shoot more questions. Don't send me a bunch of WhatsApps after asking for stuff that I don't know. They know.
Sure, they want to know what the day of an athlete is like, the day of a student athlete on campus. Sure.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Right. So it all depends. I mean, I'm sure every one of our divisions is the same. We in the sense that in the NCAA we have about 20 hours per week during season where we could use our athletes. We want to make sure that they have enough time to go to class, do their thing. So at Barry we have a 15 credit minimum, which is, it comes out to like 5 courses per semester. And we do that just in case you have to drop a course in the middle of a semester or something like that. The school wants to make sure you're always in compliance with the NCAA, because if you get good grades, you're going to be able to play. If not, you're going to have to sit back for a while. And then Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for us, we have 50-minute classes. Tuesday, Thursdays, we have an hour and 20 minutes. So I would say my athletes, they have workouts 2 to 3 days a week at 6 a.m. And then they go to class. And then we have practices 5 days a week from 2 to 5. I would say skilled development practices for us are the ones that where we're trying to help them, develop their skills, hit different shots, maybe do some course management stuff. How do you make better decisions? But I'm sure Andy and Natalie are going to tell you the real practices are qualifiers. How are you playing under pressure? We want to see how everybody's doing under pressure. What are they doing when the stakes are high? We've had a motto here that we don't really pick players. We let them play for their spot. And, when you have a really elite team, everybody's, doing what they're supposed to on the qualifiers. But for some other guys, you have to earn your spot. You can't get picked. And then usually by the end of the year, it's when we know, okay, who are the 5 or 6 players we could count on taking us to the conference championship and regionals and nationals. But like my freshman year, I had to qualify, at regionals. I was not playing my best golf. But that woke me up and was able to help the team win the national championship. So yeah, you get about 20 hours a week. And I would say coaches are going to tell you that's the minimum, right? You should spend on the golf course. You should be, if you're trying to be like Eduardo, like Guy, they're spending 30 hours a week on the golf course. They're going out there and they're finding an extra hour here, hour there. They might go, if they have a class at 10, they're going to the golf course at 7 a.m. after workouts, and they're going to go and get a couple hours in. They're finding where to get that extra hour or two to have more repetitions, more and get better.
So super nice. Great advice for the lazy ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the work you're going to do is not going to be, we're going to help you learn how to hit different shots, how to make different decisions. That's kind of my deals. I don't want to sit there and look at your swing and I don't want to look at TrackMan numbers all day. And I'm not videoing you from down the line when, players always want us to do that. My thing is, what do you do when you're nervous and there's out of bounds right, water left, wind coming in off the left? What do we have now? Right. And so it's a lot of that. But the work you're going to get better at is when you're not with the coaches. When you're not with the coaches, how much extra work are you putting in? Are you doing some of the drills that you couldn't finish at practice? Are you doing them on top of what we're doing? Are you finding ways to get that extra work in? Because no coach is going to say, hey, go home, you're working too hard. Right? That's not going to happen too often. And so when you do get some of those players, you do have to kick them off the range. It's a good thing. But, we're just looking for players that are going to work hard. It's going to take a lot of initiative. And then that's again where it goes back into finding the right fit for you. Right. There's going to be programs where the coaches aren't there at practice a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's going to be coaches that just see you on the plane before you get to go to a tournament. There's going to be coaches that are very hands-on and they're with you at every practice, every hour, making sure that you're structured and doing the right things. So again, I think, so much falls into making the right decision. And again, Luis knows enough players and coaches that he knows what style of player, works with a certain kind of coach. I tell everyone, I'm not the coach for everybody. If you're a player that if you want to play on the PGA Tour or Live Tour or European DP Tour, whatever it is, I'm probably your guy. We can probably speak the same language. We're going to have the same work ethic. I know this means as much to you as it did to me. If you're someone that wants to go to college and see what happens afterwards, probably not my guy. Right. So I've got to be honest with the players that I'm recruiting. I've had to tell really good players before they don't fit into our system. Right. This isn't a game for me. Right. This is my livelihood. This game doesn't owe me anything, but it's given me everything. Mm-hmm. So I've got to give that back to these players and the investment that their national teams that their parents have made. I take it seriously. So, it's not like we're going to come and, we're going to study and we're going to party and we're going to come to practice when we can. And I'm going to put 80% effort into this, so that's where, having good people behind kind of filter out some of that stuff. Cause there's coaches that are going to be more lax. Right. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're good teams or bad teams. That's how they run their programs. And so, finding that fit in that match and knowing that there's not a lot of extra time when you go to college. Just like Carlos said, I mean, you're going to class from, 8-ish, 9-ish to about, 12:31, and then you're on the golf course until dark, and then you've got to study and you've got to eat. And then you're traveling Saturday and playing practice round Sunday and 36 on Monday and 18 on Tuesday, hopping on a flight and going back home and having to take that test. There's not a lot. So the time management, aspect is going to be huge. So, we look for people that are self-motivated and people that are coachable. Not everyone is coachable. So, do they fit into what I like to see from players? I'm big into process. I'm big into breathing. I'm big into course management. I'm big into routines and stuff. So if you're not doing those things, then we're probably not going to be the best fit.
And congrats for taking Vicente Quiroga. We saw him playing here in Brazil. We did a AJGA International Pathway Series event, and he won the tournament. And he's a beast. He can really hit the ball and play well.
Vamos!
Good. Guys, we're getting to 1 hour and a half here of great talk. If you have more questions, please shoot. Otherwise, I'd like to thank all the coaches, the ACM folks, for putting this together for us. I think super helpful. And we're recording, so we're going to share this with everyone so you can go back and check for any other doubts. Any other questions? Parents, especially here.
Just reminding everybody that I'm on both Brazilian groups, the junior one and the one with everybody. If you have any questions, and if you have questions about other schools that you're looking at that you would like for me to do a little research for you as well. We know each other, even though we haven't met in person, but coaches tend to know every coach here, especially on the, I know a lot of coaches on D3 and a D2 level, getting to know the D1 coaches now. But if you feel free to shoot me a text on private here, and my phone is on the group, so you should be able to find it really, really easy. If you want to have a group to call me, I'm down to do that as well. So I would love to help Brazilian players to come here.
Yeah. Thanks, Natalie.
Yeah, I don't have
Are
any
you guys
Brazilian
gonna-
players, but
Yeah.
I will take one in a heartbeat. So you guys let me know. If I don't know about them, I am down.
Felipe, are you guys going to have the AJGA again this year or in the summer? Or?
Yeah, we're doing June again, and we're
Beautiful.
doing a course here called Santa Paciencia, which is now among the top 100 golf courses in the world, which is amazing. Completely private, like owned by a guy that brought Pom Fazio to Brazil to build it. So it's like a masterpiece. So it's a good opportunity if you have some time to come.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Nice. That'll be great.
I'll sign the winner of that tournament too, if you want me to.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Anna, last question.
Natalie, are you going to be at the Orange Bowl?
At the Orange Bowl, no, I won't be there. I have conflicts on the schedule with it. I would love to, but I won't be on that one.
Carlos and Andy will be there.
Yeah, and I know who will be there.
I know, but you guys are boys coaches, right?
Yeah.
No, there will be there'll be multiple coaches.
Yeah.
I would say 50 to 60, even 80, probably across men's and women's for sure every year. So very good tournament.
Yeah,
That's a great
Natalie,
tournament.
I'll consult for you if you need me to.
And I challenge CBG to send some coaches out to the tournaments in Brazil.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Thanks.
Well, guys, thanks a lot. It was great for us, super important for the parents, for the players, bring more knowledge about this journey until getting to a college, university in the US. So really, really helpful. Thanks a lot for time and putting it together.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Felipe, thanks for everything. We'll stay on a bit longer. A couple parents have questions about memberships and stuff, so we can also share our screen last 10 minutes here to show them the 3 different memberships if they're still on.
I think Anna asked that. I'm gonna send you. Was Marcelo and Anna that asked the questions? I'm gonna share both of their contact with you guys so we can reach them directly and talk to them.
Perfect. There we go.
All right.
Felipe, great to see you in person. Obrigado, and looking forward to helping junior golf in Brazil.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Super
Yeah.
nice. Good start.
Oh, appreciate you helping us pull this together. It was nice to get this this first event, and yeah, looking forward to helping some more athletes. So appreciate your assistance.
Joe,
thanks.
thank you so much for reaching out and getting us all here.
Anytime. Have a good night.
Guys, bye.